Welcome back to the DraftKings Life Podcast. I'm Jason Jones, Senior Recruitment Marketing Specialist, and I'm joined by Meg Powers, Talent Acquisition Specialist. We made it to March, Meg. How you doing?
Hey there. I'm great. I know I cannot believe we're in March. 1 year almost since being remote is actually crazy. I have it burned in my brain, March 11th. I remember the date. Other than that, I am excited for spring. We were just chatting about new golf clothes, and we have Women's History Month this month, St. Patrick's Day, which is one of my favorite holidays. So, March is looking good. How are you? What's new?
Meg, I'm in I'm in limbo right now because this weekend I'm going up to Mount Snow, getting a day trip in with the snowboard.
Nice.
But it's also 50 degrees and sunny, and I want to hit the golf range. I want to hit the driving range. What do I do?
I know.
What do I do?
That's a tough one.
And you sent me down a rabbit hole with that link. You sent me to those awesome golf apparel.
I know. It's all my fault, isn't it?
No, it's all good stuff. I'm great, Meg, and I'm really excited of what we've done in the last year. Like the podcast is a year old, which is amazing, and 3 seasons in a year. So I'm excited. But what are you doing for March 8th, which is International Women's Day?
Well, I am spending it with my mom. I'm going to be here in upstate New York still. So I think we're going to go to the spa, treat ourselves, watch some good movies. That's the plan for right now. I'm so excited we have it off and can celebrate this year and everything.
That sounds amazing. And I hope you and your mom have a great time.
Thanks.
But excited to kick off Women's History Month all month long with a great slate of podcast guests. But before we get to the one and only Jamie Shea, let's talk about hot jobs in DraftKings now.
Hot jobs.
We're growing rapidly and hiring multiple sports traders to help us provide best-in-class services through risk management, in-play trading, settlement, and reporting. This role will be out of our Vegas office. We're also looking for a minimum of 1 year of experience in a similar role, and a bachelor's degree with a preference in math is strongly preferred. And if you have knowledge of betting, even better.
We are hiring senior software engineers across the board. DFS, casino, finance and currency, full stack, marketing platform, you name it. In a lot of these roles, you'll be a creative contributor to our decision-making in building new features that are fun to use, high quality, and scalable. Ideally, you'll have multiple years of development experience in object-oriented programming using languages like C# or Java. But check out our career site to learn more on each specific role.
DraftKings Now pregame report.
The DraftKings Now pregame report is back to give you exciting company updates and keep you in the know with all things DraftKings. Recently, we announced that Jen Aguiar has been named the company's Chief Compliance Officer, an executive-level position that reports directly to Jason Robbins, DraftKings co-founder, CEO, and chairman. Tune in to a future episode this month to meet Jen, learn all about her experience, and more.
DraftKings announces the appointment of baseball legend and entrepreneur Cal Ripken Jr. as a special advisor to the board of directors. Ripken will lend strategic insights to the board of directors and chief executive officer on key company initiatives and will become a DraftKings equity holder. The one and only Jamie Shea.
So Jamie, how are you doing in 2021 given the current state of the world right now?
It's tough because you hate to see people suffering. You hate to see people losing jobs. But I have to say personally, things are okay. I'm an introvert. I don't mind being at home. So for me, it's like, oh, I'm forced to stay home. Oh no. So it's going well. The book is doing really well. We're moving forward. We just got Michigan and Virginia. So for me, I think that, things are really moving along nicely. And personally, I've been so blessed that nobody in my family has had COVID. It hasn't affected us in that way. So for me, fingers crossed, it keeps that way. I'm super excited the vaccine's coming out. So I'm feeling good about 2021 and how things will open up and move on.
Good.
I too am an introvert, Jamie. And if this tells me to stay inside and chill, okay, I'll do that.
It's so funny because, before people would invite me to stuff and I'm like, oh, you go, I really should go. I know if I go, I'll have fun. But just getting there, I'm like 10 minutes before, I'm like, do I really want to go? Now I'm like, not even a question.
I'm the opposite. I'm glad you guys are having a good time at home, but I am ready to do any kind of social activity. I'll do anything. But I'm glad you're doing well and hanging in there. Why don't we have you tell our listeners a little bit about what you do, your title and everything, and then we can get into your day-to-day at DraftKings.
Sure. I am Vice President of Sportsbook Operations. I run the online sportsbook side of things. We have many qualified people that work with me that, couldn't do it without them. They are amazing, my team. We work across many different verticals, being very collaborative, trying to do, what our goal is every day is to make sure that we are doing the best by the customer. We want to make sure that the customer is having a good time, that it's a source of entertainment, and that we are giving them the best customer experience we can through the app, through the content that we provide, through different sportsbook opportunities, free-to-play pools, paid pools. There's a lot that falls under it. And it's probably, I'm a little biased here, but I think it's the most exciting part of DraftKings. And that's just because it's my world.
It's a pretty cool team to be a part of. When I first started at DraftKings, my dad was really excited that I was getting into sports betting because he's always been into it and stuff like that. So it's a really cool team.
My dad still brags about his daughter being a bookie. And I'm like, I'm not a bookie, but explain it to his friends at the Legion where he's playing cards and stuff like that. It's funny. I don't know that every father would be like, yay. But he's very happy and proud, and especially with me being at DraftKings.
Nice. My mom doesn't know what I do. And I tell her all the time, like, Mom, just say that I tweet for a living. She goes, okay. I'm like, all right.
How's that a job?
So,
no.
Yeah, no.
That's a fun job though.
So what factors, Jamie, influenced you to get into this industry, and how has it evolved?
I started, and I'm sharing my age here, but I started in 1994 when you only had retail. I started at the Sands in Las Vegas, a small book. It was, at the time, when they hired me, they had me come in and make odds using power rankings and, just no computer system or anything. We were just sitting there like writing these things out for each game, putting up, you didn't have live betting at the time. You just had, pre-match betting before the game started. So it was a very different time, and it has been so exciting to see it evolve. I have been an advocate of getting rid of PASPA forever, because I just didn't like seeing that you only had it in one state, that you had it in Nevada. You had Delaware and Oregon for a little bit, but I really just wanted to see it go to the masses because it is entertainment. It is fun, and people do want to bet. So when PASPA was repealed in 2018, that was huge. That just that changed just the whole, people were betting on gray markets, which we don't want them to do. We want them to be able to bet in a safe, regulated manner. This allowed that. And so it's been very exciting for me to see, where we came from to where now everything is automated and you have models, and it's just a totally different world, but it's where it should be.
And for the audience, can you just explain what PASPA is?
It is the Professional and Amateur Sports Protection Act. It's also called the Bradley Act, and it was started in 1992. If you didn't have it grandfathered in, you couldn't bet in any other state except for the states where they had agreed to have it allowed, basically saying that Nevada was the only place you could bet. So then it went before the Supreme Court, and they said, nope, we can repeal PASPA. And that just opened the door. PASPA was repealed, I think, May 2018. We opened the New Jersey Sportsbook August 1st. And I mean, come on, that's crazy. And the fact that DraftKings was so forward thinking like, we can do this, we've got this, and did it. It's just awesome.
You've held some really cool roles throughout your career, Jamie. What influenced you to join DraftKings?
Matt Kalish. I had a bunch of conversations. I was very lucky in that I got to talk to the founders, and when they told me their vision and just how they believed in it, I couldn't say no. It was, I have to come to DraftKings because it's everything I wanted sports betting to be, is what they wanted to do. And I had full confidence they could. And so, anytime I moved from Las Vegas to Hoboken, New Jersey, and, I don't know anybody in Hoboken. So, it was a big leap of faith, but, these guys are they are so forward thinking, and they just have their pulse on what's going to happen next. And they do it. There's never a doubt if they say that we want to go into this next, it's going to be successful.
Wow, that's incredible. And you do get that sense, and they exude that energy, whether being pre-COVID in the office or now on a Zoom meeting or on Slack. You do get that energy from them. So that's really exciting.
Yeah, for sure.
So in the spirit of Women's History Month, can you walk us through what Women's History Month means to you?
I think it's just a good time to think back and reflect about the women who have fought for our rights. Getting the vote in 1920, it should have happened way sooner. But I just think about the women that went before me that made my job possible, right? I was able to get employed. You think about like in the 70s, the early 70s, a woman couldn't go and get her own checking account without her husband or father signing off on it. That's crazy. Couldn't get a credit card. Just all these things, and things have changed so much. So for me, it's a chance to reflect about the women who really struggled. And these women were shunned by society. They were imprisoned, just to get a voice. So it's, to me, I really like to reflect back on, what women did for us to get us to where we are now. And we need to be thankful every day. And that's when I'm ever talking about voting, it's like, as a woman, you need to vote. Like, people fought really hard for us to get this right. So get out there and vote.
Same in the Black community. My ancestors died just so I could have the right to vote. And, I'm blessed that I'm not being given a literacy test or anything like that, just to exercise my, civil liberty. So completely agree.
Right.
We have 2 really important months back to back. So it's a good time to reflect and think about those things and celebrate, where we're at now and where we'll hopefully continue to go too. So that's great to hear.
Yes.
So you touched a little bit on it, kind of pivoting here away from that topic. Hopefully we'll get back to it a little bit, but how were you involved in the initial launch of the sportsbook at DraftKings? Were you brought in to help with that process? Did you know it was already happening? Give us kind of a little bit of a backstory there.
So I started in July and we opened the book in August. So I hit the ground running. We had 3 employees at the time working on sports. Well, I would say specifically working on sportsbook. Everybody behind the scenes was going crazy, just doing a wonderful job. You had DHD, Dan Hennigan Daly, who was working really hard on the product, and Jeff Scott, and everybody was all in. I came in and kind of started the processes, right, to make sure that we have a good running book, the day-to-day operations. Do we have everything we need? It was really, like a fast get in there, down and dirty, making sure that you knew the regulations, working with the New Jersey regulators, making sure the platform was where we needed it to be, working with Canby very closely. So it was a lot. It was definitely a lot. So much fun because it was just so exciting. Watching people getting to make that first bet in New Jersey. So I spent a lot of time, trying to set up processes to make it a success, just to how you would for anything, the day-to-day operations of any department that you would do. It was just a little bit more out there. Everybody could see, very visible. And look at where we are now.
Great success that you and the team have been able to demonstrate since day one. So thank you. So staying in the sports betting world, what's one myth about working in sports betting that you can clear up for us?
I would love to see people apply, even if they don't know everything there is to know about sports betting. You don't have to be an expert in every sport, right? We have people who come in, and we have Zach who loves MMA, and different people have different sports that they follow, but it's impossible to know everything about every sport. So I would just like people to not be intimidated and feel comfortable about coming in. It's all things that you can learn. you can download apps and figure out, how to bet sports and, really just dig into it. And it's exciting, you do have one of the coolest jobs where you get to, if you are a big sports fan, you get to watch sports daily. It's a part of your job. And, but you don't have to be, and we can teach and we can train. So I think especially for women, trying to say, you don't have to be that know everything about every sport and every stat. You can still come in and do an amazing job. And we encourage women to apply as much as possible.
So one follow-up question, Jamie, are there certain like soft skills that you look for? Because, you mentioned, bring someone in, train them up, but are there soft skills that you look for that, this is, oh, this person has potential?
I think analytical thinking, trying to think about things through the lens of the customer. What would the customer want? What would the customer want to see? What is the best for the customer? What is the best experience? Being open to learning. Just having that mindset of, okay, maybe I don't know about tennis. Let me work on tennis, and really just digging in. I like the analytical background, really trying to look at everything we're doing and put it into a position where we're using data to make our best decisions.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still learning. I was not super knowledgeable about every sport when I started here, and it's not extremely required for my role, but I'm actually taking one of the master's classes that we're doing at DraftKings. So I'm taking the sports betting 101 class next week, I think. So I'm excited about that. So that just goes to show, even when you're here, you can continue learning and get into all the new products we offer and things like that, because there's always new things happening and lots to keep up with.
There is. If you're just energetic and want to learn and grow, then I strongly recommend it. Great.
Do you have a favorite female athlete in sports that you admire?
I do, but it's a personal one for me. I have it's a friend of mine. I went to high school with her. Her name is Michelle McGann, and she's a golfer, LPGA, and she's now in the senior league. Obviously, that gives my age away. But she is somebody who has juvenile diabetes, and she has struggled her entire career. She's amazing, but in those high stress moments with diabetes, adrenaline kicks up and it can cause blood sugars to fall and crash. And, what might look like a player choking, it's actually, their blood sugars have fallen. She has done so much in the community to help athletes who do suffer from diabetes, how they can, work with different options out there, work with, what's going on scientifically and medically that we can push through, just giving people the feeling that, it's okay. You've got support here. She works with kids to say, you can still be in sports, even though you're diabetic. My nephew has juvenile diabetes. He played for Virginia. They won the College World Series. He was third baseman. He struggled for sure, but he was able to do it. And, she was helpful in that too, and talking to my nephew and talking to him about, you can do this, it's a struggle, but you have to perform a little bit differently because you have something different that affects you. So for me, she's definitely a hero of mine in that she spends so much time giving back into the community. So I would say definitely she's my favorite.
Love that.
Pre-COVID, I hate saying that, but like pre-COVID, if you attend like a Boston Celtics basketball game, they always had like between the game a segment called Heroes Among Us, where they would recognize someone doing really great work in the community, and your friend just sounds like someone that's like telling like, you're not hindered by any type of, whether it be physical disability or health, but like still follow your passion. So that's great to hear. Thank you.
What's her name? Just so
Michelle again.
Okay, I think you said it in the beginning, but just so maybe she'll be my new female athlete to admire.
All of us, obviously, yeah.
Too, so that helps.
Great. All right, last question before we get into our lightning round. We've touched on it a little bit, but what advice do you have for candidates who are looking to join DraftKings?
Don't be intimidated. Put that application in. Come in, have energy and be excited about what we're doing and what's possible. Our goal is to be in every state that's legal, so we're going to be massive and come enjoy that ride with us.
Awesome. Okay, so we are going to transition to the lightning round.
Lightning round.
This will be a 2-minute drill where we run through as many questions as we can get through. We added a few in here to shock and surprise you, hopefully.
Oh, no.
Jonesy will start a timer whenever we're ready, and I can get going. Okay. Where are you from?
Jupiter, Florida.
Best part about Las Vegas?
24/7.
Who is your hero?
My mom.
Do you have a favorite holiday?
Christmas.
Summer getaway spot?
Järvsö, Sweden.
Nice. Any product or service you can't live without?
Amazon.
What's the first job you ever had?
At Kick in the Pants retail store.
Favorite color?
Blue.
What's one item on your bucket list?
To go sailing around Sardinia.
Lake, beach, or pool?
Beach.
Would you rather get a call or a text?
Text.
Favorite casino game?
Craps.
How many interviews / speaking engagements have you done while at DraftKings?
Oh, wow. A ton.
Favorite food?
Chili.
Favorite mobile app?
Google Maps.
Order in or take out?
Order in.
Favorite quarantine hobby?
Playing cards.
Best part of working from home?
Not having to wear anything but pajamas.
Real plants or fake plants?
Love real, but kill them. So fake.
Dogs or cats?
Right now, dogs.
What motivates you to succeed?
Just personal enrichment.
Last question. Favorite time of the day?
Mornings.
Crush that with like 10 seconds left. Well done.
Nice. Good job. That's well, thank you so much for joining us today. I think Jonesy has a final closeout here, but it was great chatting with you and learning more about your experience.
Jamie, we're going to close out today's podcast by asking you, what's a motto or mantra that you live by every day?
So my favorite is discipline is just choosing between what you want now and what you want most.
I like that a lot. I struggle with that all the time.
It works for me. I have to remind myself that all the time because you get very short-sighted sometimes and short thinking. And yeah, it to me, I have to go, okay, what's the end game here?
Thank you for joining us today. And be sure to follow us on social media at DraftKings Life, except for LinkedIn, where we're just DraftKings. This podcast is available on all major podcast platforms, Apple, Spotify, Google. We got you. Be sure to download, listen, and even throw us a 5-star rating. Until next time, be safe, be kind, and take care.